Aloha, I'm Matt Walton with Child Evangelism Fellowship of Hawaii. Thank you for taking a little bit of your time to learn more about how God has been using our ministry during this pandemic to give hope to children in need. Isaiah 40:31 reminds us that those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. This verse has reminded us many times over the last few months that our trust isn't in the world, our trust isn't in governments, but our trust is in the Lord. When we put our hope and our trust in God, amazing things can happen, even during challenging times like these. In March, when schools were first shut down, our team got together and came up with a new idea to help connect with children during this challenging time. We called it the Good News Club at Home, but we included teaching that helped them understand how they can handle the stress and the fear and sometimes the anxiety that comes when dealing with something like the pandemic and the restrictions of staying at home. Once we got closer to summer, we began to think through the possibility of whether or not we'd be able to have in-person ministry again. At first, it didn't look like that was going to be a possibility. But as we got closer to June, restrictions began to lift, hope began to fill us. We sat together as a board and as a team, and we prayed and we decided that we would take a step of faith. And as the doors continued to open, we had our in-person ministry begin the beginning of July. We had 8 students who joined us for Christian Youth in Action, our summer missionary training program. After that, they led 2 weeks of 5-day clubs, which are basically backyard Bible clubs. Some of those are held at churches, some of those are held at homes all across Oahu. We followed that with our 5 days of Camp Good News. We had 38 children who participated in Camp Good News. All throughout that time, our team, our staff, the CYA students, the parents who hosted 5-day clubs, the churches who partnered with us, and the children who attended couldn't contain the enthusiasm they had for being able to do something in person together again. There's so many different ways that God showed himself to us during the month of July as we stepped out on faith and put our hope in him and trusted that as we carried out the gospel, that he would protect us and our staff and the children who attended our 5-day clubs and our Camp Good News from the coronavirus. But one of those stories that stands out is from one of our students, Nadia. This was her second year with us. She shared with the group and shared with one of her leaders that before one of her 5-day clubs this summer, she prayed specifically that God would, after the invitation was given at the end of the Bible lesson, allow 3 children to come back and talk to her. As she taught her Bible lesson, she continued to pray in her heart. As she gave the invitation, she waited with anticipation, and 3 little girls stood up and walked back with her to go through the counseling program. When Nadia sat down, she realized she had forgotten her mask because she was so excited. She got her mask, continued to meet with the girls, and as she talked with the girls, one of them accepted Christ for their first time as their Lord and Savior. Nadia's enthusiasm was contagious after that. She and the other teens slowly began to realize that even during the pandemic, that God was working, and God could take the little obedience that we were being able to give him, and he was going to use it to grow his kingdom. As we look ahead to the next few months, we continue to have hope that God is going to give us new opportunities to share the gospel with children all across this state. One of the ways that God has revealed to us that we can do that is by intentionally coming alongside local churches here in Hawaii to help them be more effective in reaching children with the gospel in their communities during this challenging time. We have a list of over 700 churches across the islands, and our team will be going through them over the next few weeks to contact them by phone, by email, by snail mail, to let them know that our team, CEF of Hawaii, has a heart for children, and that if they are interested, we're willing to come alongside them, provide training, help them find curriculum, and just encourage them as they try to reach children during this challenging time. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited to share with you the opportunity to have your gifts multiplied during the month of September. It's through a program called Give Aloha at Foodland, grocery stores all across Hawaii. For more information, you can visit our website, cefhawaii.com. But in the meantime, I just want to simply say thank you. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your financial support of this ministry, even during this pandemic, so that we have the opportunity to share the gospel with children, whether that's in person, online, or through walking shoulder to shoulder with local churches. I want to leave you with one more verse, 1 Corinthians 2:9, one of my favorites. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, nor entered into the heart of man what God has in store for those who love him. This verse always reminds me that when we look ahead to the future, that if we simply love him, trust him, and place our hope in him, God's plans for us are beyond our wildest dreams.